clicking up, looking like you tough, acting like you banging now, nigga. Walk around with that flag out your pocket until the real come and ask what you claiming now, nigga. 1, 2, 3, oh shots from a loose cannon and it's blazing through your torso, nigga. 1, 2, 3, oh shots from a loose cannon and it's blazing through your doors now, nigga.
Yeah, nigga, that loc is back. Come to your section, them shells rat-a-tat-tat. Cause what you banging, what you claim, you know what's up. If a person know, got that dagger exposing your fucking guts. Yeah, that blue been in me. Free my big cousin, cuz like me. Our gang's different, but we both bleed blue. Heart pump no Kool-Aid, them shots come through. I stay true blue, been true to that blue. Been true to the cause, so what about you?
What's cracking, YouTube? It's your Loc Phantom Loc, aka Silk the Lokester, and you're watching Keeping It 3100. For all you first timers, please like, comment, subscribe. For everybody else, let's get into it. Right now, I'm in a hotel room for my job offered a outing for all of us because we hit our mark that we haven't hit in since the COVID epidemic or some shit like that. So they gave us passes and all this other stuff to an outing and all. So that's where I'm at with it, which I'm going to today, later on. But before I do, I want to tell a story. This is the story of how I ran into some shotgun Crips, SGCs, out Baltimore, and I had to save my dad's life. So let's get right into it. So at that time, I just got out of a 3-year, basically, I'll call it an illusion relationship and all that. So I just got out of it like a week ago and all that shit at that time. So, you know, Loc was feeling fucked up. So me and my folks went to our favorite seafood spot out Baltimore and all that, called Moe's. And if y'all know what Moe's is really known for and all that, you know. Really good seafood. I recommend it. But anyway, we was rolling over there, you know. I'm feeling fucked up and shit like that. So once we got to the spot, we saw a couple of cats posted in front and all. So me and my moms, you know what I'm saying, went in to meet up with our guy Mo, or this other guy that's the chef and all that. And we placed our order, you know, usual and shit. So that day I was blued up and all that. Now, thing is, my favorite color is blue even before Crippin' and all that, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, blue chucks, blue t-shirt, black jeans and shit. And I was just having that mentality like, I just do not give a fuck. Like I said, I was fucked up and shit. But, you know, who hasn't been there? Especially after a long-term relationship, whether you think it was real or if it was fake, whatever the case is, that amount of time, whatever, will fuck you up. 3 years, 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, don't matter. If it's more than 1 to 2, it'll fuck you up. Anyway, so one of the cats asked me if I had a lighter and shit like that, and I was like, nah. I ain't got no lighter. And then he was like, alright, true. Hey, you Crip? And I'm like, yeah, who wanna know? And then he introduced himself. There was like 4 or 5 of them, or some shit like that. So he introduced himself, and he said he was from Shotgun, the Deuce line, pushing the Deuce, 132. So I was like, so I told him who I was, you know, I told him I said, West Side Harlem, you know what I'm saying? 30 with the A in the middle, Avenues or no news. He gave me that look like, like, oh yeah, we got one. So him and two of his homies and all that started coming up closer to me and all that. So I already knew what time it was and all that. So I was just ready. So before anything happened, all of a sudden I just hear a voice saying, "Hey, what do you think y'all doing?" I look, I see it's my pops coming out of his truck, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then one of them was like, "Oh no, don't worry about it, pops. We just chopping it up and all that." And I'm like, "Dad, get your butt back in the truck." And then he was like, "Nah, man." I was like, Dad, I know what I'm doing. You do not want to get in the mix of this. I know what I'm doing. Get in the truck." So he went back in the truck and all that. So it was like, "Was that your pops?" I was like, "Yeah, but he don't know what we're doing and all that shit." You know what I'm saying? He don't know, like, right now we're politicking and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, you know, something that I get from people all the time. He was like, he gives off that, you know, stigma that, is he a Crip too? I was like, nah. He could have been. He was from LA and shit, you know what I'm saying? He could have been one of the originals and all that. Same with his brothers and all that, but nah. But you know, that shit transferred over to me. That stigma, that aura, all that, you know, you didn't take up on it, but that shit's in you, not on you. So that shit went to me. And I went full 3100 with it. Anyway, so we started politicking and all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? Told him my line or chapter or faction is, you know, from the DMV, you know what I'm saying? DC, Maryland, Virginia, and all that. And, you know, I already could tell that they from Baltimore because this shit happened in Baltimore. So we were chopping it up. They started asking me questions and all this shit that I already knew the answers to and all that, you know. And then one question was about how many kids Raymond Washington had and all this other shit. I'm like, really? But anyway, we were just politicking and all that. Then one of their homies, but I think he was a civilian. This one was like a regular street cat or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Little nigga, you know what I'm saying? He couldn't be no more than probably 12, 13 years old or something like that. And he was maybe 14, 15. But anyway, he was like, "Yo, one thing I noticed is that when it comes to y'all Crips, I never hear anything bad about y'all." You know what I'm saying? It's like y'all just really just be in your own lane and all that and just, you know what I'm saying, trying to do what you can for y'all community and area and all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's really them Bloods that I've been hearing so much shit about. Like, they just be doing the most and just doing the extra and just, you know what I'm saying, just fucking shit up. Which, you know, for the most part, through experiences, that's true. So when anybody asks you, or, you know, when anybody asks me, what's the difference between a Crip and a Blood? Well, like I said, it's the way we carry ourselves, our philosophy, you know. And put it like this: a Crip, treacherous with finesse. Blood or Paru, reckless when you test. Suge Knight, good example. Reckless when you test. Paru, right? Blood, well, you know, loud, making shit known, you know, flamed up, bold, you know, just loud. A Crip, subtle to himself for the most part, especially with most sets. Some, you know, they wild, you know, I ain't gonna lie, unbiased. But most of us, you know, subtle, chill, only act on shit when we need to. Unless you're from a particular set and all that, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, now once the conversation started dying out, I just, you know, decided to go for a walk and all that. You know, clear my head. Like I said, fucked up. And I ran into him again on the other side of the sidewalk and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Well, actually, yeah, it was on the other side of this intersection and shit, this big ass intersection. And they saw me, and we just, locked seas and shit, and I just kept it rolling. They kept whatever the hell they was doing and shit. So I go back in the truck, and I told Pops, what the hell was that? He was like, man, I didn't know them dudes were going. I was like, that, you could have got yourself jumped, or you could have got yourself killed. And he was like, man, look, if one of them tries, all that shit that I'm jumping into, I was like, yeah, I appreciate that, Pops, you know what I'm saying? But what you didn't understand was this. Those guys were Crips as well. He's like, they were? I was like, yeah. But I didn't see a rock, no blue. I was like, Dad, this is not the 80s or the 90s no more. Let alone the early 2000s, you know what I'm saying? We could practically wear whatever the hell we want and shit. You know what I'm saying? I just choose to wear blue because that's actually my favorite color and all that shit. But yeah, it's not like how it was back then anymore. And besides, they don't really trip on colors like that anymore. They really focus on your hat. But anyway, what you didn't understand, Dad, was that those were Crips from another gang and all that shit, and we were basically politicking. This is just what we do. You know what I'm saying? And whatever comes with it, comes with it. But one thing I will not let happen is you getting hurt or killed over my business, over something that I'm involved with, over some shit that, you know what I'm saying, that I'm in the mix of and all that. I know what comes with this shit. I've been know what comes with this shit, all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? But one thing I will not do is let you or Mom or anybody that has nothing to do with this shit or whatever, that's in the family or whatever, get themselves hurt or worse over me. I will not let that happen. They're going to have to get me before anything. So that's when my mom came out of the restaurant with the food and all that. I hopped out the truck, helped her with the food and all that. Put in the truck, and we just went up, made our way back to the crib and all that. Next day, Pops was watching the news. News report came up, a homicide that took place in Baltimore, a block away from the restaurant and shit. He was telling me about it. I was like, yeah, see, that could have been you, because you wanted to jump in head first, not knowing what's in that water and all that and what's going on, and then all of a sudden you're caught in a feeding frenzy. Like I said, that was business. That was politics that was going on. And whatever comes with that shit, just let me handle that. Now, I understand if it was like, you know what I'm saying, just some ordinary, dumb motherfuckers and shit like that, this, that, and third, like the YNs and all this other shit, you know what I'm saying, the shiesties and all this other shit, even though I wouldn't want him to get involved with that shit either. I don't want him to get involved with any of my shit, you know what I'm saying? But, dad's gonna be a dad and all that shit. That's every dad, but that's just me. When it comes to street shit or whatever, do not get yourself involved, Pops. Let me handle that shit, But, yeah, I was like, yeah, that could have been you, because you was getting yourself in something that you had no business in and you didn't know what was going on. And like I said, whatever comes with the politics and all that stuff comes with it. It is what it is. I've been a Crip. You know that. This is nothing new to me. I had to deal with that shit in school. I had to deal with that shit outside of school. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and third and all that shit. It's just gotten more, in due time. The bar just kept going up and all that shit. Especially now since everybody got their chucks laced correctly and all that, the fun and games is over. And the way shit is now out here and all that, You know, it's no questions asked. You gotta do what you gotta do. But anyway, that's the story of how I ran into some shotgun Crips and I had to save my pops from getting pressed on or worse by them because of a mistake that he did on his part by about to jump in that water head first and not knowing what's beneath the surface. But like I said, when it comes to this shit, I ain't letting nothing happen to anybody in my family that has nothing to do with that shit. I'm just keeping it 3100.
You don't know now what said I claim. I claim 3-0. You ask what I bang? I bang 3-0 with the A in the middle. Avenues cuz, but I ain't with the riddles. Keeps it 3100, but people not like me. I see the weird shit going on repeatedly. But I'm a go-getter, I goes and gets. Never a lazy ass nigga ambitious with my bets. Cross the line, pay the debt. Even with your life, pay the debt. Gotta pay the toll, that's how life rolls. I seen too many plays solid, but they always fold. Had a beating heart, froze that shit cold. Don't give a fuck, I'm in that fucking mode. Seen one side, but now it's the other side. One slick mouth, that life of yours, bye bye.